Okay, now just reintroduce what we're doing today.
Ah,
Refreshing a stale tea. Okay, there you go.
okay, here you go.
Yay!
Yeah, okay, that's it. Facebook people, that's it.
We're refreshing a stale tea today.
We are going
So what
to,
were you saying?
I don't know what I'm saying.
Talking about what we're using to refresh a stale
Okay,
tea.
so you can use different heat elements. Today we are going to do candlelight because that's easier for me to introduce to people, and then you have a chance uh, to to work with this kind of a light element too. You can use electricity light, for example. That's actually really easy to use. You can use your stove top. You can use your oven, for example.
Oh yeah, Tim Shan Le, I'm gonna use an electric oven today.
Oh, here you go.
Nice.
And I don't have I don't have any experience with the household oven style because I seriously try not to bring too much work at home, which I already did. And so I think tea roasting is something that I don't want to bring it home. Oh, if you guys have a rice cooker, I think the old school one, I'm not sure about the really modern stuff that you have all the things to digital thing to punch in. Not sure how that work, but the old school that you just press that button and then you will start cooking and pretty much only one functioning called cooking rice rather than stew stuff, that kind of rice cooker will also work. So what you do is you put your dry leaves into the inner cooker and then just click that thing on because it will heat up and then it's detecting water content and then it will click off when the water content the rice cooker think the water content is to the point that things are cooked. Can you imagine that the heat is actually driving through inside of your tea leaves? That is one wonderful method too.
Tim Shan said, "Da Tong rice cooker."
Yes,
Talk, talk, talk,
大
talk.
同牌. So I think it's I'm not sure how to spell if Ting Xuan
Tatung.
Tatung. Okay, if you have one, then Tatung. I think just really old school one. That thing perfect. And for those of you who, but I don't think it can roast tea though. I think it can refresh tea and try that method too.
Hey Holly said, "I actually have that style of rice cooker, but I think it just uses weight.
Oh,
Try just putting it on the keep warm setting."
yeah,
Yeah.
whatever. Okay, so are we ready? Oh, also, if you are using candle and a piece of paper today, maybe have some water next to you in case you burn your paper. So don't panic. Just put some water over it. It happens sometimes. And this candlelight is very aged. I don't know how long it has been sitting in the shop, so I'm not sure if it's gonna light.
I
hope
love
so.
aged candles.
Oh shoot! Go. Yes.
Yay!
Yes.
It's working.
We are going to use Lee San tea, possibly 2018.
18.
Are you sure?
No.
Okay. So if we can even drive out a little bit of moisture, we'll say that's pretty successful. How much tea do you want to put in there? Your decision, okay? Well, at least in this one, your decision, how much tea leaves you want to put in there. I'm just going to do roughly about 1 pot worth of a tea today because I actually can't fix the tea, so I don't want to fix the tea means you get the tea roast to a certain stand and it's stabilized that way because you actually will turn too much and become into the staleness again. So can you remind me when it's 15 minutes of time?
Oh, sure.
Yeah. So you guys can imagine which way it's gonna go faster, okay? Of course, it's this way because this the clay teapot is going to absorb a lot of a little bit more heat than this because this, first of all, I did not put too close, so I'm used really light heat. This will actually take quite a long time to do it. And if for those of you who doesn't know what staleness, what moisture and staleness means in your tea, and you don't know what odd flavor actually got into your tea. Odd flavor means the flavor that is not supposed to be in the tea got into your tea because we already opened it maybe for 2 years. Whatever is in our house will actually get into it. For tea roasting, I actually don't suggest this in the beginning, but you can actually go ahead and do this if you have a lid. Put it on the top of your teapot. If you do this style, this will be harder to do, I think, to actually really have a clear idea of what moisture and odd flavor really means by this style.
But if you want to know what moisture and odd flavor smells like, this is how I learned how to smell it, is put a lid on top of your teapot while it's roasting in there, take it off, and smell it. The moisture will condense on the lid.
And then the smell too.
Yeah. Oh, Hedgehog Holiday. My candle went out again. I have a propane stove I'm using. I'm going to use that.
Totally. And if you guys, don't know in a tea context what moisture really means, well, then pick up a really fresh bag of tea, smell that, and then pick up a bag of tea that have been sitting at your home, like tucked into the corner of your cabinet, and pick that up and smell that. And then use your life examples. Clothing also will be a good example too. Something that just freshly washed and dry. And of course, then do not use any smell of kind of a detergent. Is that called detergent?
Mm-hmm.
Sure, detergent. For your clothing. And then really smell that. And then, pick up your summer or winter clothes that whichever season that is going to be rotated and been sitting in your closet for 6 months, then pick that up and smell that. I think that's a good example too. Food too, you can use food as an example. Your coffee beans, anything, try to build. Yeah, and then it smells kind of weird.
As well?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, there you go.
But the reason why I think if we are really refreshing up the tea, I would actually suggest you not to cover the tea up because you want it to go away. So if you put a lid on there, you kind of trap them back in there again. So actually let it evaporate. Another word, I try to use a big word, but I don't know how to say.
Volatile.
Yeah, here you go.
Let the volatile stink evaporate.
Yeah.
Hi, cousin.
Cousin
Jake.
Cousin Jake.
What's up, cousin Jake? Oh, we got A.K. Hill of the H.A. Holiday, or H.A. High School.
Not holiday yet.
No.
And this one, if you are using a teapot today, clay teapot today to do the roasting or refreshing, make sure you pick it up actually from time to time because it actually will get burned. Yeah. Your tea, if you don't do something to it for 15 minutes, it will get burned. So pick it up from time to time and shake it, almost like cooking. And okay, I'll try all this. Here you go.
Floating scent tea.
Yeah, floating scent.
It's our new name by cousin Jake.
飘香啊 in Chinese.
Yeah, 飘香啊。
对啊，红明堂. We have two Chinese tea names for the shop.
对啊。
你个头啦，对。I don't have a lot of patience for this method, by the way. I'm doing it for you guys. Sometimes with this method, it feels like nothing is really quite happening.
Oh, you've been going for 5 minutes already.
Yeah.
But it is the most basic method, and if you don't have a spare Yixing pot lying around or a butter warmer, then
yeah,
it works.
And then some of you guys actually have those miniature tea roaster at home. Do those too. Those are really fun. Maybe we should do a session on that.
Jake said we're about to have some of Mr. Lai's tea.
Yeah.
Nice.
Which one?
Which one? Hedgehog said love his tea. Oh, I said, so how long and what temperature for a heavy roast? And then like a laughing face.
Who asked that question?
Hedgehog.
I don't know. Should I use my finger as the thermometer index? Skewer.
You're double fisting right now.
I know. Do double roasting today. Life is too short. There's only room for double roasting. That's my new tea slogan. Also my barbecue style when I do barbecue.
Oh, Jake said maybe the Anchi Teguanin.
Ah, cool.
Nice.
That's a good tea. And since we'll be holding on to this thing for a long time, any questions, just ask, okay, related to tea. I know that a lot of us have been feel anxious for many months now, and right now on the top of it, we feel very heavy in our hearts. And so let's use the moment to just even 10, 20 minutes, just focus on tea for a while.
Hey, Holiday, I've got it on the simmer burner.
Simmer burner?
Really
What is that?
small for simmering like a pot of soup.
Oh, okay. So
Fire.
you do a stove top style?
Yeah.
Cool. As I say, I don't bring, I try not to bring roasting work at home because I roast tea here in the shop, actually, at our house oolong. Once in a while, I try to bring it at home when we're really low on the stock. So I actually never tried stove top and oven style. You guys should do that at home. Yeah, a little bit heat, not too much.
Those little flames are looking real juicy right about now. Hey, Holiday said, you've got to post a photo of your roaster.
My roaster?
Yeah, maybe we should. I don't think we have one.
I think we did. I can actually let you physically look at it right now. 1 sec. Well, only the top, okay? Here you go. This. Can people see it?
Yeah.
Yeah. And then on the bottom, on the base, there is the electricity wire in there. And I think that's like medium size. I think boiled chick has a really tiny small ones. We have that too, about this size. You can roast about maybe a quarter pound of raw oolongs. And that basket that I just showed you can roast up to, I normally roast 3 pounds of house oolong at once in one basket. And there are larger ones. Yeah, much bigger. Like Dongding farmer use the larger ones.
So, Tim Shan Le, you just asked a really great question.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna get to the other questions first because it's a really big question also, and we have about 10 more minutes of roasting to go. So,
Oh, really?
maybe 8 minutes. But
Time is not going.
here you go. T Hedges, can we do this in a cast iron pan on the stove?
Yes.
Yes, give
But-
it a try, but really low fire.
But make sure what happened to cast iron pot at your home is I bet you already cook with it. Am I correct? It might actually, your tea will come out with like food taste to it, which I think is good. Because actually a lot of people try to incorporate food cooking into tea into food cooking. So maybe that's one way that you actually come up with a new method of tea and food combined into one.
Hey, Jahali said, are you roasting boy chick?
Am I roasting boiled chick?
No, I think it's, are you roasting boy chick? But it looks like, are you roasting boy chick?
I think she is a bit too far away for me to roast right now. But I can use the other style to roast though. Ha ha ha. Got it?
Oh, does this work for black tea as well as oolong? I found an old bag of organic Earl Grey. Could I freshen it up this way?
Try. I never try to refresh. First of all, what is that? Blended tea. Because I think
There's other stuff inside that may
That-
not
yeah.
respond the same way as the tea leaves.
because, well, first of all, maybe both of the things go stale, which will be your Earl Grey scent or essential oil or whatever how they blend it, and then one will be the tea. So by refreshing this, you are not gonna make the part of Earl Grey the bergamot. I mean, the bergamot be more fresh. I don't think so. So it might get the body a little bit better. I think fire will, when you do it right, you always bring out a little bit more body. So I will say, why not try it? But I'm not sure if the flavor will come back 100%. I hope that answered the question.
Okay, so now back to Tim Shanla's excellent question.
Okay.
As long as we have 4 more minutes before we take the tea off the fire.
Okay.
Can you talk about the zheng of tea? You mentioned it from the owner of Wisteria Tea House, and also the rest of that phrase, zheng jing qing yuan.
镇静清源. Well, I need a lot of focus into too. I think, I mean, Ting Xuan, you know Chinese, and so it's hard to actually translate even sometimes a word in Chinese, and some of the things really difficult to be translated. But that's my own understanding at this moment. Maybe down in the next 5 years, I hope I learn something more and I become into a different person. Then my understanding in Zhen will be different. I think Zhen is not square, which in Chinese it call also as a square, I think. I think Zhen is in center. It can show in our outer body when we are doing tea. We sometimes just slant our body a little bit sideways. We are not very in center. And then we are brewing tea, also pouring tea this way, then we are not in center. So minimally in my outside body, my physical body, oh, thank you. My physical body, I will try to set in center, but not rigid it. I want to set, almost you set something on the top of something. I just want to set here in center. And I think when you practice some outer, I call it the outside rules, then it becomes into an inside rule. Because when the body is this way, I'm not sure how much our heart and our intention can be in center. Only when we start to adjust and pay attention to this, slowly it lure our internal thing into center as well. And that's the beginning. It shows in the setup too, actually, I think, in our teapot, our tea brewing session in a setup. Sometimes we don't pay attention of these things. It's so that it shows that my mind is not really in focus too. And I will be one of the best examples. Oh, it's burning. I'll be one of the best examples on that. Because normally my surrounding is very chaotic. I would say I'm a messy person. I don't like to clean up at all. That's like if do you know when I make money, if I ever make some money, my first goal is actually to hire a maid. Isn't that a good goal? I love it. So out of the subject, and it really will show on your table. And one of the best examples I also see, because I was observing Mr. Lai's tea table. He seriously, one time when I went to drink tea with him, he also had like 10 teapots on the table, on his tea table. Well, first of all, this part, he make it really nice and clean and clear. And then on the side, I keep looking what is on the side of his table, and there were like 10 teapots laying around there. But that 10 teapots, they are somehow have a unity and has a beauty. And my 10 teapots normally just show is randomly, they are randomly laying around there. So we got to put our focus. It's a form of focus. It's a form of respect. It's a form it will manifest into your into your tea table. Then it will manifest into the drinkers too. I think. I hope they kind of answer the question, because my mind normally also loop around quite a lot. Whatever comes to my mind, I spit it out. So it's a really bad habit of mine. And so that's
Yeah, there you
Jen.
go. You hit your 15-minute mark.
Yeah, 15 minutes.
Tia just said, I just noticed how leaning sideways I am.
And just keep practicing. I still do that because sometimes the tea kettle is so heavy that I do have to, use subconsciously, then I use my body mechanics to compensate it, right? So we just need to know and keep practicing this part then, maybe get stronger on our arm or whatever you need to do.
Tia just said, very interesting. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
And then Tim Sean said, yes, I think that helps illustrate it. Thank you.
Okay, cool.
And then Heidi B. Mary said, I love what you spit out.
Oh, but I have to keep, Heidi, I know, but I have to keep learning the lesson of Chinese have a saying, 祸从口出,病从口入. Disease go inside of your mouth and disaster come out of my mouth. Oh, I mean, disease come into my mouth and disaster also come out of my mouth. So I really have to put a little bit more consciousness of what I say out of my mouth and what I put inside of my mouth, of course. Okay. Almost. I'm just waiting for the water right now, okay? So that we can just try this before touch up and 2 methods of touching up to see if you actually like what is turning. And if you can smell, now this one, the one have a little bit more fire into it, more heat into it. Of course, it pick up a little bit roasting note actually, but the underneath high note is actually showing up a typical high mountain that citrus note actually show up. But if you ever like you accidentally put in there and it just got burned a little bit, like who is doing the stovetop? Hazel Holiday and some other person too. Maybe TH also want to do the stovetop style. If you ever burn it initially, it capture that smell right away. Take it off. The tea can be safe, so don't worry about it. Just take it off. Let it have a room to let the smell go away, and then put it back down with the lower heat again. So don't worry about it if initial burn smell show up. If it sit there and burn for like 5 minutes, yeah, the tea is over. Trust me. You can brew it and try to prove if it's over or not, okay?
Life Escape said, the tea is smelling so good.
Oh, yeah.
Nice. Tia just said, maybe you should wear a mask to keep the disaster in.
Not sure, though, because the word can still spill out. And then this one doesn't have much smell currently, the one that is on my paper.
Oh, Terry Teapot said, I practice in front of a mirror so I can watch my elbow and my shoulder.
Oh, cool.
That's great.
That's great, yeah. And then from the original bag, maybe it's from 2018, the tea, has a little bit more moisture smell. Like it's a little bit damp. And maybe we'll go to a second subject of Jin, Zhen, Jin, Qin, Yuan. So Jin, I think I think for me it's pretty obvious. I mean, as we already tried to show, I'm not sure if we try to show in a brewing session that you go into the tea quite a lot. So can you imagine you don't have a quiet mind, what your tea can taste like? And for those of you who are who are a little bit sensitive on this subject, I think we are all experiencing this at this time of our lifetime, actually. Remember I told you that the first 2 weeks of the lockdown, my tea was not really drinkable. It was so agitated. I used pretty much roughly the same procedure that I've been doing. It just shows in the broth that it's really hard to take because it was a lot of burden on me and on a lot of you guys too. So it's just like obvious. If we don't have a quiet mind, our tea will show. Now, then it's our task. Can we always maintain a quiet mind? I can't. Can you? Maybe you can. But actually, through the practice, you can actually, at least right now, I'm seeing them side by side coexisting right now. I can actually lower it down. Also, by my, let me show you my shoulder just a little bit. Actually, by my physical being, because when I am tense, the first thing, you guys all have different mechanism, I think. My first thing is actually my shoulder. And I put way more awareness in my practice right now. And I remember to breathe out and just keep, and not just mechanically lower my shoulder. Actually, my whole back muscle will become one piece and will start to move. And I know that at least that part, then I'm a little bit on the better side to drop the physical energy, and to recognize I'm still thinking about the pandemic. I'm still thinking about my business, etc., etc. I'm thinking about what the future might hold, all those stuff. And at the same time, simultaneous, I have a way to say, but now is now, So I think qin is 正静静. Quietness is not just like everybody hold silence, because there's still so much chaos in silence. Don't we all agree? It's to really try to settle it and keep watching how you settle. And I think that's really helpful. And I hope that also answered that question. And so I think my water is boiling hot. And let's try these 3 teas. So non-touch-up, paper touch-up, and with a teapot touch-up. Whew, so much mist. That's nice. Do I look like a guru right now? Let me get a couple of cups. Here you go.
Heidi B. Mary liked what you said. So much chaos in silence.
So much chaos in silence. So today I'm actually rant on that subject a little bit, okay? After we are done with the tea.
Furiosus ignis.
Oh, the furious fire. I like that.
Oh wow! I had a very stale Indonesian black tea I found and saved for this session. Tasting the stale and refreshed tea, the refresh has a much better scent and doesn't taste sour anymore.
Oh, here you go.
Nice.
Oh, he can also drive a little bit of sourness. Yeah, and also use your intention to drive away the sourness, and also use the weather. It seems like a lot of chances the brighter weather, the sourness will go away. I haven't 100% scientifically confirmed this yet. But it seems to more chances when I have a aged tea, for example, and then the tea actually have a little bit, a certain amount of sourness that I dislike in my tea. I will on purpose brew it in a sunny day and in a raining day. So you can also try that. And why I seriously have no idea. Okay.
Tea had just said, I bet it smells great in there with all those steaming bowls of tea.
Yeah. So let's do the initial scent. So the non-touch one up, it is a little bit stale, not like the fresh High Mountain Oolong, so juicy, so fragrant. And the second cup, not much more smell show up actually. I don't think a lot of heat actually got into it by the paper style. I noticed paper style takes about 30 minutes actually. And I do 15 today. I don't want to sit here and then just hold a piece of paper for 30 minutes today. Sorry, guys. You continue, okay? But a little bit more, in a way, feels a little bit more quiet on the second tea now. And third tea actually have the cover up the I saw it. I call it the outside layer roastiness. Actually, already show up. It smells roasty from the outside. And what does that mean? Because you will show in the tea, after we continue to drink it, the tea will show its original taste. Rather than roasted, it will be actually that light, fruity, or citrus high mountain oolong. Cup number 1. Kind of bland. Wow. Cup number 2, just lightly touch up, not too much, maybe none.
A little bit less bland though.
Yeah, a little bit. I think that not try to come out, but I didn't do it successfully yet. Body shows up a little bit more. The water content reduced just a little bit, and then see cup number 3. And let's let it, see cup number 3.
Smells roasted too.
Yeah, smell roasted. Tastes a bit roasted on the surface. That bubbly texture show up now.
Tastes like high mountain oolong.
And so let's let it sit a little bit further. Maybe I'll just take some liquid out so I can put some. Oh, I'm not going to drink this one, okay? Don't worry. I'm just going to throw the liquid away. 3 in 1. So those of you who maybe can have the tabletop small tea roaster, it actually have a temperature gauge to it, and a lot of people will have the question, what temperature and how to do it and when to adjust the temperature. The things I hear is when the smell change, you adjust the temperature, which I think is really hard. Sometimes you are roasting, it just lose the whole thing, especially when you are roasting a lot of tea at once, and then the room is just permeated with a wonderful tea smell. It's really hard sometimes to detect what is changing and what is not changing. And this will be all just a practice that if you are interested in this subject, you got to experiment with it. I think another saying was like, am I correct that Mr. Huang said when it become clear?
Yeah.
When the scent become clear, with such a small way, I think it's really hard to know what is changing and what is clear and not. But as I said, if you are roasting at least a quarter pound of tea all at once, it's more concentrated. Also, way more tea, the scent will be stronger. You will be able to. Because when you first roast a stale tea, it doesn't smell very clean actually. And because there's so much earth smell and the water is in the air, that it's not very clean and clear. To a certain point when the heat reach to maybe a little bit of the center, then it really will cause a clear scent. And that might be the time to maybe toast your tea a little bit, change the temperature. I would say most of the people roast, if you are using the diagram style of a tea roaster, most people use low to high, okay, as a way to roast tea. However, there's a small school of people that use charcoal to roast tea. Like including Mrs. Su. When I asked her the question, I said, is it low to high? And she just looked at me and said, how stupid can you get? So if I sometimes offend you by my bluntness. Just remember, I also many times got called very stupid in Taiwan. So she said, if you use fire, how do you use low to high then? I mean, do you need more fire to it? So with charcoal fire, I think they are saying it's postman is high to low, but not like really, really low, just high to low. Yeah. I don't know why this is interesting, but whatever.
Life Escapade is cracking up. So that's good. Hey, Holly said I can go harder on the roast next time. I'm trying to refresh. I'm not trying to refresh. I want roasted tea.
Oh, roast the tea. So just play it safe and have patience. Just remember, always step number 1: don't burn your tea to begin with. Okay, yeah, just simply don't burn it. When it's burned, it's over. So they actually say tea roasting. If you are trying to roast and learn the skill to roast good tea, they say it's like burning cash on the stove on fire.
Because you can kill a tea.
You can kill a tea. And can you imagine they have 10 pounds of tea roasting, and each pound roughly costs about $200. Here you go. That's a lot of money to kill. Yeah. So I have deepest respect of those people who want to pursue this form of art. I hope someday Floating Leaf Tea can do that for you. Noah is assigned to take up the task.
Yep.
And I think I'm assigned to just do the talking, I think.
You got to make the money for me to burn.
Ow.
Life Escapade said, ouch.
So first cup still kind of, well, stale. It's just a little bit stale tea. Body is more. Second one, even with just a little bit heat for 15 minutes, the body shows up. The bouquet doesn't really show up 100%. Just a little bit, try to sneak in. Third cup with much more heat got driving into it. Yeah, it's still roasty. I think I should roast this tea a little bit. More body. Actually, it tastes pretty good. And this is alive. It's a live tea. I didn't intend to. It's awake. I didn't intend to roast tea, but roast the tea today. But it got roasted. I just tried to refresh it, but I did a little bit extra, I think. So I hope you guys have fun. Do you guys have any more questions on this one?
Hey, Jahali said, definitely like the result I got.
Oh, cool.
That's great.
Yeah, just play with it. I won't say I'm an expert on this subject at all, but I play with my roasting when I have time. It's just fun. And seriously, if you burn a pot of tea, just get over it, big deal.
And
I mean, we brew a bad pot of tea, so still gotta get over it, right? So it's roughly the same as you burn a pot of tea.
Tia just asked the question.
Yes.
Should the color of the tea change when you are refreshing it?
Maybe not much. I don't think, if you are just refreshing, I don't think it actually change. I mean, by our eyes, it won't see that it change. I don't think so. Yeah, let me see.
Terry Teapot said, lots of fun to learn.
Yeah,
Awesome.
yeah, totally. Tea should be experimental, and then through that, then you use your own ways to define something. Just like all learnings the same. So once again, if you think 195 degree of water and 6 grams of tea is the only correct way to brew tea, really rethink about that. I'm trying to look at the color, sorry.
Also, with any kind of learning, you have to pay tuition.
You have to pay
Kim
tuition.
Shan Le had a great sentence about that. He said, you have to pay tuition. Sometimes it's money, sometimes it's burnt tea.
Yeah,
very
which
true.
also is money
very true.
eventually. Yeah, you need to pay tuition. You need to figure it out. I think rather than blindly believe, seriously try and make mistakes and figure out. As I said before, whatever I'm saying in my even in my tea sessions here on my website, in the live sessions, also put a question mark behind it, because I keep putting question marks too behind. I'm trying to learn something, so some are my discovery for now that I think is very helpful. But as I said, maybe down in the next 3 years, I'll say, sorry guys, I changed my mind. So, which I did already, big times already throughout my tea journey from 2002 to now. I majorly changed big minds. So, I mean, now my mind is big. I actually, some of what I say, I would like to take it back. I don't think it's as accurate for me right now as a tea drinker. So,
Kate Sarp said, I finally found a use for my lidless clay pot.
yeah, totally. So much fun. It might still get burned or like the bottom. So if you seriously don't feel like too bad about it, okay? If you and sometimes they will crack because there's so much direct heat got into one spot. So we had one that I think it cracked a little bit, but it's okay. I couldn't find it anyway. So.
Cherry Teapot said, thank you so much.
Thank you.
Tracy said, that's why I love learning from you. You never pretend to know it all. Thank you, Miss Tai.
I can know it all. It's impossible in tea to know it all. It's impossible. Yeah, I already know that. That's what I know. Impossibility. So before we get off, if you don't like to hear about social and racial justice, you can maybe leave the session right now, and nobody need to get too angry about this. I would say I'm trying to be quite cautious as a human because I have a kid, and through political stuff, I never try to say too much of my views in public, because I also think about the question, is this only tea or can I put politics into this? And I see the freedom in Taiwan that sometimes I get into many times I get into a cab, and the moment the cab driver asks me, where are you going? And I told the driver where I'm going. And do you know what they said normally next? Is they just start to rant about the politics in Taiwan. And then in the middle of it, I said, oh, wow, really? Cool. I don't actually quite get it nowadays. I'm not super involved because I don't live in Taiwan for many years now. Oh, okay. And then they continue to express their opinions. But that's a side story. And so I think a lot of us lately have been feel really heavy with what's happening outside. And there's a lot of burden, and I feel so much burden from this, that we got to be called in colors, and me will be yellow, and I think I have certain amount of even as a yellow person, I have a certain amount of privilege in this country, because I always feel that at least I'm not the first one to be targeted, I think. So I think I have a little bit privilege. And so within this, I think maybe just recognize how hard the Black people have been taken for hundreds of years. And I think right now, in a way, it's not a time to tell them like what they are doing, it's wrong. There is so much injustice in them. I think what we can do is to help. And I would actually call myself a coward. I actually dare not go out to march, actually. And I would like to, but I'm just worried about the stuff, my son and stuff. So if you can stand up for somebody, use money, use your voice, vote. If you think your vote would not make a change, and that's what politicians want, if 70% of us go out to vote, the politicians will be scared shitless right now. They will, because they know people will be voting. Right now, they can do whatever they want. It's because most of the people either been stopped to vote or just feel hope is gone. No matter what you vote, wouldn't make a change. It will. 70% of us voting will do it. But right now, since it's not it's the election, any kind of election right now? I'm not sure. Oh, yes, it is actually. But I think for more current stuff, stand up for them. Stand up for them. Rather tell them they should continue to suffer in a systematic way. That's really wrong. If we can go out to march, maybe if you have a little bit resource money, donate to some organizations that they can actually help them. For example, some protesters might be locked up. There are actually some organizations who will help them to get out. So maybe use other ways, use whatever way we can. And simply, I think it helps to just simply recognize that it's really unfair towards them. And I think that's it. Okay. I will see you on Thursday. We are going to taste some hong shui
Yeah.
udons.
Sounds good.
And keep having fun burning your tea at home. But be careful, okay? If you use a candlelight, I would say seriously be careful. Just have a pot of hot water or cold water next to you and get ready to get rid of the fire, okay? Yeah.
Cool. Thanks for
And
the
then-
comments, guys. I'll show Shoen when we're done with the session, so we can talk about them a little bit. There's some good comments and love coming. So we love you guys, and we really appreciate you supporting us and everything. So keep thinking about this stuff and keep practicing. Yeah, practice can really help stay grounded.
Okay, shut up.
Yeah. Okay.
Shut down the session, please.
Okay.
Thank you, guys. You like smash the phone.